Okay, I need to talk. I need to lay this all out because I am utterly floored by how my life has imploded. And frankly, I feel completely blindsided. Everyone's acting like I'm the villain, but I was just being myself. I was just being honest. And now suddenly I'm the bad guy? It's beyond unfair. Let's set the scene. My husband Daniel and I had Chloe and Marcus over for dinner last Saturday. Daniel's been, well, Daniel. He's a good guy, I guess. Dependable. Solid. He works in IT, servers and networks, all that incredibly dull stuff. He brings home a decent paycheck, enough for this house, the cars, the lifestyle I maintain. But dependable eventually morphed into predictable, and solid became stifling. He's a creature of habit, entirely devoid of spontaneous spark. He'd come home, eat the dinner I cooked or supervise the cooking of, let's be real, retreat to his man cave with his tech journals, and re-emerge for bed, tired and quiet. It was like living with a very efficient, very beige appliance. His days consisted of solving technical problems and his evenings seemed to consist of not having any, just quiet consumption of stale information, occasionally interrupted by a polite inquiry about my day, which he'd clearly already tuned out. I, on the other hand, thrive on energy, on laughter, on vibrant connection. I'm Victoria. I'm vivacious, witty, and I don't sugarcoat things. That's why people like me. I'm authentic. I'm the one who makes things happen, who brings the life to the party. Daniel always admired my strength, my no-nonsense attitude. He used to say I kept him on his toes. I thought it meant he appreciated me, that he found my dynamism invigorating. Turns out it might have been more literal than I thought, a constant state of mild discomfort for him. He always seemed slightly off balance around me, like he was perpetually trying to keep up. Which honestly he was. Our home, this perfectly manicured haven I designed and overseen every detail of, often felt like a stage where I was the only performer. The soft lighting, the expensive art on the walls, the plush furniture, all chosen by me, for my comfort, for my aesthetic pleasure. He just paid the bills dutifully. His contributions felt entirely transactional. I'd spend hours curating the perfect ambience for an evening, only for him to walk in, flick on the harsh overhead lights, and immediately bury his nose in a tech magazine. It was a constant, subtle undermining of my efforts, my very being. Chloe and Marcus are fantastic. They get it. Chloe's husband, Mark, different Mark, don't worry, is a bit of a slob, constantly leaving his socks beside the hamper, never in it. And Marcus's wife, Sarah, is a hypochondriac, convinced every sneeze is a symptom of some rare, exotic illness. So our dinner parties often devolve into a delightful session of husband complaints or wife woes. It's harmless banter, a way to blow off steam, to feel seen and understood in the absurdity of married life. We all love our partners deep down, but we also acknowledge their eccentricities, or their profound shortcomings depending on the day and how many glasses of wine we've had. It's a bonding experience, a ritual of shared exasperation, a reminder that we're not alone in our marital disappointments. Last Saturday, everything was perfect. The house gleamed, the table was set with my finest china, and the scent of roasted chicken filled the air. I had chosen the music, a sophisticated jazz playlist, naturally, which Daniel, to his credit, hadn't questioned. We were a few glasses of Sauvignon Blanc deep. The mood was light, and the conversation flowed easily. We just finished dessert, a triple chocolate mousse I spent hours on, a masterpiece of culinary indulgence, which Daniel barely commented on beyond a polite, "This is good, honey." Very rich. Typical. Never amazing. Never incredible. Just good and rich. The man had no flair, no appreciation for true artistry. Chloe started laughing, gesturing wildly with her fork. "Oh my God, you guys, Mark tried to fix the dishwasher yesterday. Now the kitchen floor is a wading pool, and half our plates are still covered in stuck-on food. I swear he's only good for pushing buttons on a keyboard." We all chuckled, a wave of familiar amusement washing over us. Marcus chimed in good-naturedly, ever the dry wit. Yeah, well, at least Mark tries. Sarah decided she had a rare tropical disease last week because of a mosquito bite. We spent 4 hours at urgent care. Turns out it was just a mosquito bite. But the doctor humored her, bless his soul. I think he just wanted the copay. We all laughed even harder. It was familiar territory, the comfortable rhythm of shared complaints. Then Chloe turned to me, her eyes twinkling, sensing it was my turn to contribute to the marital misery parade. What about Daniel, Vic? Anything new on the home front? Any exciting tech failures? Has he finally outsourced his personality to an AI? I took a sip of my wine, a slow, deliberate moment, letting the rich liquid warm me. This was my moment, my turn to shine. All the petty frustrations, the quiet disappointments, the years of feeling like I was carrying the emotional weight of two people in this relationship, the constant dull ache of his inadequacy. It all bubbled to the surface. He was sitting right there across from me, fiddling with his watch, probably mentally reviewing some network architecture problem from his office. He wasn't even listening clearly. His eyes were distant, already miles away in the sterile world of circuits and code, which honestly made it even easier to speak my mind. He was so detached it was almost like he wasn't there. Daniel, I scoffed, a genuine mirthless laugh escaping me. Oh, you mean my human security blanket? The one who ensures maximum data integrity, but minimal marital excitement. Chloe and Marcus chuckled, their eyes fixed on me. Good. I had them. Honestly, sometimes I wonder if his greatest achievement isn't managing a server farm, but managing to keep his own life so perfectly, excruciatingly dull. I paused for effect, letting the words hang in the air, crisp and true. He's like a finely tuned machine running on autopilot. Predictable, reliable, utterly without surprise. And that, my dears, is far more terrifying than any tech failure could ever be. Daniel finally looked up, a faint frown on his face, his eyes blinking slowly, as if roused from a deep meditation. Hey, honey, what are you talking about? His voice was soft, slightly confused, the voice of a man who rarely had to engage with anything truly challenging. I waved a dismissive hand, my focus already back on my audience. Oh, nothing, darling, just sharing some marital anecdotes. You know, couple talk, just us girls and boys commiserating. I turned back to Chloe and Marcus, leaning in conspiratorially, lowering my voice just a fraction, making it sound like a secret, a profound truth. Seriously, though, I swear his emotional range is narrower than a modem's bandwidth. You know how they say real men are providers? Well, he provides a comfortable cage. No risks, no thrills, no surprises. He's all about stability, but it's the kind of stability that feels like rigor mortis. It's like living with a perfectly functioning spreadsheet. All numbers, no heart. My hands articulated my exasperation, tracing an invisible line of flatness in the air. Chloe snorted, covering her mouth with her hand, her shoulders shaking with silent laughter. Marcus's smile wavered a bit, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes, but he still nodded, a slight, sympathetic inclination of his head. They understood. They had to. This was just how it was. This was the truth of it. You want to know something? I continued, emboldened by their laughter, feeling a rush of power, a heady wave of liberation. The wine was definitely helping. Sometimes I think the only thing he really excites is his router. The man spends more passionate hours with his network cables than he does with me. I mean, the man's practically allergic to spontaneity. If I suggested a weekend trip to Vegas right now, a spur-of-the-moment flight, he'd probably ask to see my Excel sheet detailing the projected ROI, the risk assessment of losing money at the tables, and the optimal gas mileage route to the airport. I made a face, mimicking his serious, analytical expression, complete with pursed lips and a thoughtful nod. Chloe let out a loud guffaw and Marcus finally chuckled openly. Daniel's face had gone pale, A sudden, alarming absence of color. He wasn't looking at his watch anymore. He was looking at me, his eyes wide, his lips slightly parted, frozen in a silent shock. The easy smile had vanished from Chloe and Marcus's faces too, replaced by a mixture of discomfort and dawning realization. A sudden, uncomfortable silence descended upon the room, thick and heavy like a shroud. The laughter died, leaving a chilling echo. "Victoria," Daniel said, his voice barely a whisper, a strained, almost unrecognizable sound. But it cut through the silence like a knife, sharp and precise. "That's enough." I bristled. Enough? How dare he? How dare he try to shut me down, to silence me, to shame me in front of our friends in my own house? Typical timid move. Always trying to control the narrative, always trying to make me small, especially when he was the butt of the joke. He deserved it. He deserved to hear the truth. "Oh, lighten up, Daniel," I snapped, my voice a little louder, fueled by indignation and too much wine, the injustice of his interruption sparking a fresh wave of anger. "It's just a joke. We're just having a bit of fun. Don't be so weak." My tone was sharp, dismissive, a flick of the wrist. The word hung in the air, cold and stark, like an icicle. Chloe gasped, a small choked sound, her hand flying to her mouth. Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his chair, suddenly intensely interested in the intricate pattern on the rug, pointedly avoiding eye contact with anyone. Daniel's face was utterly blank for a moment, as if all the blood had drained from it, leaving behind a hollow mask. Then, slowly, painfully, a deep flush crept up his neck, spreading across his cheeks, turning them a mottled red. His eyes, usually so mild and unassuming, now held a raw, humiliated agony, a profound wound that seemed to deepen with every second. He pushed himself up from the table, scraping the chair loudly against the polished floor. "Excuse me," he mumbled, his voice tight, barely audible, before walking out of the room. He didn't slam anything, didn't shout, didn't create a scene. Just walked. Quietly. Like the quiet, pathetic man he was. He didn't even have the spine for a dramatic exit. The atmosphere completely deflated. The vibrant energy evaporated, replaced by a suffocating awkwardness. Chloe and Marcus exchanged horrified glances. "Victoria," Chloe said, her voice soft, reproachful, her face etched with concern. "Maybe that was a bit much." He looked really hurt. "Much?" I scoffed, waving my hand dismissively, trying to recapture the light-hearted mood that had just shattered. "He's being overly sensitive. It's just a joke. He needs to learn to take one. Honestly, he's so fragile. I'm just being authentic. He knows how I feel anyway. It's not like it's a big secret." But even as I said it, a prickle of unease snaked down my spine. The air was definitely different. The laughter was gone. The casual camaraderie had evaporated. It was just me alone defending myself against their sudden, silent judgment. Chloe and Marcus left soon after, their goodbyes strained, their usual effusive promises to do this again soon, conspicuously absent, replaced by vague murmurs. I spent the rest of the night fuming, pacing my perfectly decorated living room. How dare Daniel ruin my evening? How dare he make me look bad in front of my friends? It was classic manipulative behavior, designed to make me feel guilty, to shift the blame onto me. But I wouldn't. I was right. He was fragile. He was too sensitive. He needed to be called out. The next few weeks were a nightmare. Daniel became even quieter, if that was possible. He moved through the house like a ghost, his presence a heavy, suffocating silence. He stopped making any effort at conversation, beyond curt answers to direct questions, barely a single syllable. He'd eat dinner in near silence, eyes fixed on his plate, then immediately retreat to his study, closing the door softly but firmly behind him. He stopped watching TV with me. He stopped asking about my day. He stopped touching me. There were no more polite pecks on the cheek, no more accidental brushes of hands. Our bed felt like a vast empty expanse. I tried to talk to him, of course. "Daniel, are you still mad about the other night?" "It was just a joke." I said I was sorry. I hadn't, but I told myself I had, or at least implied it with my exasperated tone. He'd just nod, his face expressionless, a blank wall. "It's fine, Victoria. I'm just busy. Busy. Always busy." Now it wasn't just his job, it was his emotional unavailability, his deliberate, calculated withdrawal. He was punishing me, and he was doing it so subtly, so passively that it was driving me insane. I felt like I was screaming into a void. I confided in my friend Sarah, the one who wasn't at the dinner party, hoping for her usual boundless empathy. "He's giving me the silent treatment, Sarah." I whined over coffee at our usual chic cafe. "After one little joke, he's being so childish. He's completely shut down. I don't even know what to do with him anymore. He's like a block of ice, a giant, unmoving iceberg that just radiates coldness." Sarah, usually so empathetic, looked at me with a strange expression, a hint of something I couldn't quite place. Pity? Judgment? "Victoria, you called him weak. In front of his friends. You really think that's one little joke? That's quite a public thing to say about your husband." I blinked, genuinely surprised by her reaction. Well, it was in the heat of the moment. And he is sensitive. He needs to toughen up. I'm just being honest. He needed to hear it. Sarah sighed, shaking her head slowly. "Honesty is one thing, Victoria. Humiliation is another. He's probably deeply hurt. You really cut him deep." "Hurt?" "He hurt me by being so boring, so emotionally distant, so utterly unmanly. He deserved a little sting to wake him up, to make him realize what he was missing, what I was missing." But I couldn't get Sarah to see it my way. She just kept looking at me with that strange, disappointed gaze. She started making excuses to avoid my calls after that. Always too busy. Something came up. Even Chloe and Marcus seemed to be perpetually busy whenever I suggested getting together. My social circle, my emotional support, my entire network of validation was shrinking. People were clearly choosing sides, and it felt like they were choosing his side, the side of the meek, the quiet, the wronged. The unfairness of it all was overwhelming. A tidal wave of injustice. I started to get sloppy. Or maybe I just stopped caring as much about keeping up appearances for him. The relentless silent treatment from Daniel, the creeping isolation from my friends, made me even more resentful, more defiant. Why should I try if he wasn't? Why should I maintain any pretense of marital bliss when he was clearly punishing me? I started leaving empty wine bottles in the recycling bin for him to find. A silent, pointed accusation of my loneliness. I'd leave clothes on the floor in his meticulously organized study, knowing he was meticulous about cleanliness and it would irritate him. I'd make sarcastic remarks about his lack of enthusiasm for anything outside of work, or his latest gadget. He never reacted, never exploded, never even raised his voice. Just that quiet, cold demeanor. It was unsettling. It felt like walking on eggshells, but the eggs never broke, the tension never released. It was a torture of passive aggression. His quietness began to feel ominous. He wasn't just withdrawn, he was observing. I'd catch him watching me, not with affection or even anger, but with a detached, analytical gaze, like he was studying a foreign object, calculating its next move. It made my skin crawl. I'd complained to myself that he was acting like a creepy stalker, just another way for him to exert control, to make me uncomfortable in my own home. I was certain he was planning something, but what? I assumed it would be another one of his boring, passive-aggressive moves, like leaving a passive-aggressive note about a chore. Then came the day it all ended. I was having a particularly bad week. My new favorite designer bag had been backordered for months, and the store just canceled my order, claiming a logistical error. My hairstylist botched my highlights, leaving me with an unflattering brassy tone. And Daniel was still radiating that glacial silence, a constant chill in the air. I came home, ready to unleash a torrent of complaints, to demand some kind of emotional response from him, to finally break through his icy wall. He was sitting in the living room in his chair, not my couch. He wasn't on his laptop, no glowing screen to hide behind. He had a thick, legal-looking folder on his lap. He looked up as I entered. His eyes were clear, steady, utterly devoid of the hurt or confusion I was used to seeing. They were cold, hard like polished steel. "Victoria," he said, his voice calm, measured, utterly unlike the timid murmur I was accustomed to. "We need to talk." "Finally," I scoffed, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, now you want to talk? After weeks of ignoring me? What? Has your server finally crashed and you need my emotional support?" He didn't react to the jab, didn't even flinch. His expression remained unreadable. "I've been talking to a lawyer," he stated, his voice flat, emotionless. "And I've prepared these." He opened the folder. Inside were stacks of papers, printed emails, screenshots of texts, dates, times. There were even copies of receipts, highlighted, meticulously organized. It was like his work, but directed at me. My blood ran cold. My breath hitched. "What is this, Daniel? What are you doing? What are those?" "This is the dissolution of our marriage, Victoria," he said, his eyes finally meeting mine, and in them I saw not anger, not sadness, but a profound, unshakable finality. "I've decided I can't do this anymore. I can't live with the constant ridicule, the belittling, the contempt, especially not after you publicly humiliated me in my own home, in front of our friends for years, and then that night." "Humiliation?" I scoffed, indignation bubbling up, my voice rising to a shrill pitch. "It was a joke, Daniel. A little playful banter. You're overreacting. Are you going to divorce me over one stupid joke? That's ridiculous. That's completely unfair. You're being childish." He leaned forward slightly, his voice dropping to a low, intense tone that vibrated with suppressed emotion, a force I had never known he possessed. "It wasn't one joke, Victoria. It was the culmination of years of quiet, insidious disrespect. It was the final straw. It showed me exactly what you think of me. It demonstrated a pattern of emotional abuse that I simply choose not to live under anymore." He slid a thick bound document across the coffee table towards me. "These are the divorce papers. My lawyer advises me that, given the circumstances and documented history, I will be seeking full ownership of the house and the majority of our shared assets, including your separate bank accounts which I helped fund. You'll keep your personal effects, your car, and a reasonable portion of liquid assets for a fresh start. And I believe the court will see things my way." My mind reeled. My head spun. Full ownership? The house? My car? You can't be serious. That's not fair. I helped decorate this house. I supported you. I endured your boringness, your emotional unavailability. You can't just take everything because of one bad moment, one little slip of the tongue. My voice was a desperate wail. He looked at me, a flicker of something cold in his eyes, a glint of the meticulous engineer, now turned legal strategist. "You endured my boringness, Victoria? I worked tirelessly day and night to provide the stability, the comfort, the financial security you claimed you wanted, the lifestyle you demanded. I loved you. I supported you. I tried to be the husband you needed, even when you consistently made me feel like I wasn't enough, that my efforts were always insufficient. I have witnesses to your behavior, an extensive documentation of your verbal assaults, your contempt, the belittling comments. And yes, I have the testimony of friends who are no longer comfortable around you because of your behavior. This is not about a joke, Victoria. This is about years of emotional abuse culminating in a public act of humiliation that broke something irreparable in me. And I simply will not tolerate it anymore." He stood up slowly, deliberately, his small overnight bag by the entrance packed and ready. This wasn't a sudden angry departure. This was planned, meticulous, just like his spreadsheets, just like his server configurations. He had been working on this for weeks, perhaps months, while I was oblivious, consumed by my own grievances. "You can't just leave," I screamed after him, feeling a sudden terrifying surge of raw animalistic panic. "This isn't fair. This is my life. You're ruining my life. You can't do this to me." He paused, his hand on the doorknob. He turned his head slightly, and his voice was chillingly calm, utterly devoid of any warmth or regret. "No, Victoria. You ruined it. I'm just cleaning up the mess you made." And then he was gone. The click of the door echoed in the silent house, a final definitive sound sealing my fate. He didn't slam it. He didn't yell. He didn't even look back. He just left, calmly, definitively, leaving me utterly alone amidst the ruins of my self-made kingdom. Now I'm here alone, facing the reality of losing everything. My friends have completely ghosted me. Clara sent a terse text about needing space. Simone just blocked my calls. My parents are disappointed and don't understand why I couldn't just be nicer or appreciate what I had. Everyone is blaming me. Me, the one who was just trying to be authentic. The one who was just speaking her mind. The one who was just trying to inject some life into a dead-end marriage. It's not fair. How can one joke, one moment of honesty justify all of this? He's acting like I'm the monster, the manipulative one. But I was the one stuck with the timid, dull, predictable man who punished me with silence. I was the one who deserved more. I was the victim here. And now I'm paying for it. It's truly, utterly unjust. And I'm left to wonder, how did I, Victoria, the vibrant, authentic woman, end up so utterly alone and wronged?